For Wednesday, September the 4th. Thank you for being with us today. I'm Charles Hanagirff, along with former Tiger Richared Dickson, and we're a couple of days late going to Vegas, getting back from Vegas, flight time and all that stuff. We'll be doing these on Monday throughout the course of the season, as we have last couple of years. But, Rich, we disappointed in the opening game of the season, and this is the first time we're gonna have some video. We're gonna be able to show you a few of the things that we usually just talk about. So, tough start for the Tigers.
It's a bad start, and I feel like I'm getting used to it with 5 years in a row. But there was some positive things in the game. It's just, of course, when you believe all the hype and you've seen the work they put in, and you get ready for the game. Everybody's been waiting for this for 2 months, and then it's a failure to start the season because we felt like this was one we could have had.
A play here, a play there. I mean, this was really a 50-50 game. I'm not going to suggest that LSU should have won the game, but they could have won.
They could have won the game, and USC made the plays when they had to have a play, and LSU didn't.
So before we start watching, the one thing I thought for sure that I knew about this team was that they were going to be able to run the football behind that offensive line. Right off the bat, you could see that they were really not. But the offensive line was excellent in pass protection, and they were able to really, go down the field on that opening drive pretty much exclusively through the air.
Yeah.
And so I felt good about that. And I'm beginning to wonder if after this game, maybe their identity is a little bit changed here without being able to run the football, but being able to push it down the field a little bit.
Yeah, you can see throughout the first half, especially that they were going to give you the intermediate and ask you to run the ball. They weren't going to get beat over the top. They played two-man, cover two, and they played deep. You look at a lot of this, they're going to be sitting at 15 to 18 yards deep, and they're giving you the intermediate stuff. And then, like you, I thought that we were going to be able to take over the game in the run game. They challenged us, and they beat us there.
LSU got a spark in the second half in the run game from John Emery, and we found out just a few hours ago that he tore his ACL in practice on Tuesday, and that's a devastating injury. Not only do I feel for the team, I feel for the young man personally because he's going through a lot to get back.
Yeah.
John Emery's been written off a couple of times, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I didn't think he would be back at times. And he came back, and he was their best runner. He showed good vision,
yeah.
And you wondered, hey man, how much of an impact is he going to have going forward? And now his season is done.
It's heartbreaking. I mean, when I was coming in here today to talk about John Emery and the way he looked, I mean, I thought he looked lighter. He looked like he picked up a step. He was moving good, and he really gave us a spark in the run game when we needed it. And then, that was one of the things I was most excited about coming out of this game. And then to hear that he tore his ACL again was just devastating.
I thought Garrett Nussmeier save a couple of throws in this game was really good. They needed him to be, and I thought he delivered the football. I thought he showed a lot of poise, avoided, made very few bad throws, I thought, in this game.
No, he played really clean. Everybody wants to talk about why we weren't going deep with it, trying to go over the top, but USC was playing defense to prevent that. They were going to make you throw it intermediate and run the ball. Garrett made a lot of good decisions. A play here or there that he could have made that could have helped out. But, I mean, for the most part, he played pretty clean.
We're brought to you by Marucci Sports, a company founded and operated by current and former big leaguers. Marucci, dedicated to quality and committed to providing athletes at every level with the tools they need to be successful. Fielding and batting gloves for baseball and fast pitch softball, training bats and tees, baseballs, softballs, helmets, bat and glove care accessories, and of course the famous bats. The Wood Custom Pro Bats, training and souvenir bats, BB Core, USSSA, T-ball, and fast pitch softball bats. Partnered with dozens of college programs, including the LSU Tigers, and some exciting stuff coming up in their retail area. More information, go to MarucciSports.com. All right, let's watch this opening drive here for LSU, Rich, because it was an impressive drive. It didn't end the way that they wanted it to. But right off the bat in the return game, Xavier Thomas
you almost go home right here with that shoestring tackle. The guy made a hell of a play. I don't know whose responsibility that was, or that's the guy you're letting go, but he almost took it to the house early.
They were giving Kyron Lacey room to operate early, and Nussmeier was really accurate with everything that he hit on this opening drive.
No, I mean, they were clicking early on. You see this, the first two passes come out. I think he had 7 or 8 catches in the first half. they were really getting the ball to him. You'll see later in the game they started trying to take him away.
Nussmeier would hit 3 different targets for at least 5 catches. Here you see Mason Taylor with one of his 7 catches in the game. This is right up your alley. This is to the tight end.
You see right there where they pass off to get to the corner blitz. And I think, the big thing right here is those are tackles that, he's gone down early on. He's got the strength and he's starting to break tackles and extend the run.
This is one of the few good runs of the night for LSU.
Yeah, it just, when you look at that, even here, it just seems cluttered up the middle. 18 made a good move to the outside and was able to, I think that's the second longest run of the day.
This is 3rd and goal. You thought that this pass was a little bit behind him. We're going to go back and watch this one again, that he could have led him a little bit more here.
Yeah, if you get a good lead right there, he's going to keep his momentum going forward and get to the 1 or 2 right there. And also, I think that's Kyle Parker being a little bit nervous. He didn't need to jump and pause right there because he loses momentum.
All right, here's the first, I say controversial, not controversial call of the game, but the first one that is going to be scrutinized. This is 4th and goal from the 3. They have soaked up 7 minutes and 10 seconds of game clock here. They've gone down the field. Rich, a year ago against Florida State, they took the opening drive and went down, and on 4th and goal from the 1 went for it, didn't make it. Here, 4th and goal from the 3. This is a harder play.
It's a long 3 too. I mean, that's closer to the 4. But man, it's something that it's a fix that has to be made because we've seen, 3 years of this. This is where we've been struggling. When you get down, 4th and short, we just don't have the guys to punch it in.
First of all, the decision to go or to kick the field goal. Where are you on that?
I'm good with it. I mean, you're getting momentum. You drove right down the field. It's an explanation mark on the drive. It gets everything going well. And right here, you're having confidence in your defense. We're either going to go for it or we're going to get good field position on the next drive.
But, and let me just, I didn't have a huge problem with him going forward. I hate being result oriented, but you've been waiting for this drive all summer.
Yeah.
Okay. You executed, you went down. First of all, to take the ball and not defer tells me that he wants to put his best unit on the field first. He didn't want USC to go out there, get a good drive against the defense, and all of a sudden, by the time your offense gets on the field, you're behind. We can debate that. I don't have a problem with it in this. I'm mostly a defer guy, almost exclusively. Here, at least I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to get his team off to a good start and get them off to a lead.
Yeah, everybody, is waiting to see what this offense look like. He's been confident about it all summer. He's felt good about who he's going to the game with. And he's just, he wants to take the ball, drive it down the field, and show everybody, what they got.
But if you're going to take the ball and with the intent of let's go down and take the lead, then don't you have to make sure you take the lead and take the 3 points here?
I didn't realize how long of it was a 4. This is really, 4th and 4. You're almost at the 4-yard line. Play call right here. I don't know.
Let's watch it here. Obviously, they failed to account for that, which was a blitz really right up the middle.
Yeah, I think that's on the young center. I mean, you get a double team on the tackle and you leave the A gap free.
Let's watch it again here. And he does. He comes. You're right. Yeah, he comes right by.
That's one where he's got to know where his eyes are. In these situations, you protect the interior gap, and you got to place a hand, keep your eyes open. And I think it's just a young mistake.
LSU got him out after about 5 plays on the next drive. So we're about to watch the USC drive that puts them on the lead. But let's talk a little bit about the defense first. I thought watching in camp that they would be a little bit better up front, a little bit better pass rush. They were even better than I thought.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of neutralizing USC's run. They made them one-dimensional. It was better than a 5-to-1 yardage differential between the pass and the run. So I thought they did a good job there. But I did think – and for 52 minutes, they held their own. I mean, if you hold Lincoln Riley's team to 13 points in 52 minutes – you're doing all right. In the last 2 drives, it kind of became more of what we saw last year.
Yeah, I think I like the way the guys played. They were flying around. Guys were out there making plays, hustling, chasing things down. For me, the biggest thing is, you'll see as we get to it, the 2 drives that kill me are the 2 2-minute situations. USC was able to go straight down the field and get in scoring position.
Before we look at this, we'll tell you about Bayou Apparel, helping local businesses communicate their message since 2009. As one of only a few local LSU official licensees, Bayou Apparel offers the highest quality products to showcase your brand. Whether you've got an established brand or a new one, Bayou Apparel design experts can help you create eye-catching designs and logos that fit your company's message. They do event T-shirts and promotional items for your business. Call 225-928-9090 or go to the website at bayouapparel.com. Was impressed with Miller Moss in this game too, Rich.
That's a hell of a throw and catch right there. I mean, it was well covered. He hit a back shoulder on a tall tight end. A lot of the plays, I mean, I felt like we had guys in position. They just made big plays.
Moss, like Nussmeier, has spent 3 years waiting for this opportunity. I thought this was a good design here to combat the
Riley play right there. I mean, he just got all momentum going one way. Guys were chasing it down and hit him on the backside.
This is into the second quarter now, so LSU had been pursuing really well, and I thought that was a nice play. Here he buys some time, and this is about as good a catch as you'll see with the one hand there. Rich, that's the kind of catch you dream about making, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that when you go back and look at it, we played good defense right there, and the guy just made a better play.
Well, I can live with that, okay? If that guy's not going to make that catch very often, okay? You have to – sometimes you got to tip your cap on the other side. And he goes up, and he makes a one-handed catch here.
I mean, and the ball – Burns tips it right here. He almost knocks it out, and the concentration to stay with it was just unreal.
And Weeks misses getting the arm in there by just inches. So, hey, listen, sometimes the other guy – now, later in the game, I thought there was some coverage, breakdowns or just some mismatches in the secondary. This wasn't one of them, though. Hey, I like those gloves. Did they have gloves like that when you're playing?
I feel like they're getting better and better.
The Stickum gloves
that was just concentration.
Yeah.
When you go back and see that Major Burns gets his hand in there, tips it away for just a split second, and he stays with it.
They powered it in there from the 2-yard line, and this is. I wrote this down, Rich. You're 4 minutes now into the second quarter. At the end of the first quarter, you had a better than 3-1 time of possession advantage. You had about a 3-1 yardage advantage. You had 7 first downs to their 1 in the first quarter. And here you find yourself 4 minutes and change into the second quarter, and you're behind.
Yeah.
So I always get nervous with games like that. When you go out and you control the first, 20 minutes of the game, it's a full third of the football game, and yet you're behind on the scoreboard, man. That's tough.
When you get to the 4-yard line, you got to punch it in, and it always comes back to bite you. I mean, and then we talked about, do you go for it or not? I'm okay with going for it there because I know what it means to the team and the type of momentum you can get from, executing. But then when you go back and look at it, you're winning on the yardage stick. You got more first downs, but you're behind in the game.
We're brought to you by Dana Brown, the law office of O.C. Brown. Known him for a long time. His team of attorneys can help you with all your legal needs. It's your law firm for a lifetime. If you've been in a car accident, if you made a mistake and broke the law office of O.C. Brown should be your first and only call. Call them at 225-343-1111. On the web, it's OCBrown, OSSIEBrown.com. Dana and his team have been invaluable to us over the years, and they can help you out, too. The initial consultation, always free, 343-1111 or OCBrown.com. We're going to take a look at the opening drive here, or the touchdown tying drive here. Taylor had 7 catches in this game. There was one that he dropped that we went back and see it was tipped. So it's not – it hits him in the hands, but it's not the easiest ball to track.
No, I mean, when you're watching the rotation of that ball, trying to get your hands on it, and even the slightest tip just changes your mindset. I thought the way they got the ball out of Xavier Thomas, he's a guy that, I hope to see get the ball more. He just seems explosive with the ball in his hands.
He can make he can make you miss, and I think the front line speed is there. There's a first down throw, and now you're into the red zone, and this is where they've had problems, so they go looking for Kyron Lacey.
And he makes a hell of a play. I mean, you watch it here if they show the replay. His concentration, he starts to lose the ball right before he gets his feet down, regrips his hands, and makes the play.
All right, we'll see it again here from the end zone.
So when you get him going in motion, you get that safety covering Kyron one-on-one, and he's going to make a play on a safety every time.
So You see the concentration there, pins the ball up against his helmet, gets a foot down, and secures it. All of that is fantastic. Love everything that happens here. Great job, guys. After the play, the celebration. Now you got to kick off from the 20-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, that's a celebration I've never seen before. It's one that is going to get a flag. You just hope that he gets his emotions in check, and that was hard to cover up for him. You can't blow the DB's head off with an imaginary gun.
You're gonna see why this is so costly here on the next play. But Rich, a lot has come with it. Well, Brian Kelly's not disciplining these guys, and he's hugging Major Burns. We'll see that penalty a little bit later on, but these are upperclassmen.
Yeah.
So when you wore 18, you were a leader. What happens when one of your very best players goes out and does something like this, and it's costly right from the very next play?
You have a talk with them instantly because look, emotions are hard to contain. I've said things I don't want to say on the football field. I've done things I don't want to do. But when you're playing in a game like this, it's hard to keep those in check. But he's an older guy; he's got to know better. And I'm sure that one of the older guys came over and said it to him. He's got to get that thing controlled.
The older guys, but the coach. Yeah. I mean,
the coach is looking at it like, come on. You know better than that. You can't.
But can you put him on the bench at that point and say, "This is one of your best guys"?
I think Kyle. If you don't have Kyle Parker, Chris Hilton, the two guys behind him, you probably sit him for a minute. But right now, I mean, we're scratching for healthy receivers.
Parker hurt himself in this game, and Hilton was out. Yeah.
So we were down our number 2 and 3 replacements right from the get go.
It's a good point. All right. And here's why it hurts, because you got to kick off from the 20. Zachariah Branch was the best kick returner in the country last year. LSU's kickers and punters did a good job of keeping him in check, except for here.
Yeah, and I hate to be ticky-tacky on that one. You could have easily gotten a block in the back on there. I think it might be Womack, maybe, number 15. You see him throw his hands up. It does affect the play. The guy gets just enough on his back to push him forward. And, I'm also looking for a excuse, but I mean, it could. I've seen that called before.
You could have got him, but again, if you're not kicking off from the 20, and give the young kicker a chance, attaboy, because he did a great job of drilling the balls into the end zone, except when he had to kick from the 20. And
to make that open field tackle was pretty impressive.
Yeah, for Morrell, it was a really good play. Here's Moss going deep, and he's got a receiver.
This is one of the plays Gilbert just got beat. He was in bad position. He came up running forward and never was able to catch up with the guy.
If you're able to single the LSU safeties in man coverage, you're going to have a problem. Gilbert got beat badly on this play. Have to set him up in position to kick we're getting down. We're halfway through a little bit better than halfway through the second quarter right now. They got backed up on the second and goal, and then they make a nice play here to get them back with a chance.
It's a very similar screenplay to they ran earlier in the drive or 2 drives ago. That they're using LSU's aggression against them.
LSU was able to get the third down stop, and then the field goal to put them ahead. All right, now you're just outside the 2 minutes, and LSU's got a drive here to try and tie the score.
Great throw.
That's Lacey again. I'm going to ask you in a minute why we didn't see more of this in the second half, but we're going to look at some of the coverage changes that they made here. Ramos, who's become a very, very steady kicker for LSU, makes that field goal with a minute to go, and it's 10-10.
So this is what kills me. You got 40 seconds left with 70 yards to go, and we just cannot get them a stop. We got very fortunate they missed a field goal on this.
Yeah, they did get down, and I thought the clock management here by Lincoln Riley, there's 23 seconds to go. You're still on your side of the field. You got 2 timeouts to go here. And that's what's frustrating, because if you got them on your side of the field, 23 seconds and 2 timeouts.
You're feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah. And even with Lincoln Riley being very, very passive here, I thought, you're still on the 36-yard line. This is no gimme field goal with 18 seconds.
16 seconds. I mean,
what happens on this play, Rich? Because you want to talk about a bust.
You get a bad fit by Witt right there. He gets on the inside that opens up the gap, but we just didn't have any other backers flowing. It seems like everybody attacked early, took the wrong gap, and got sealed off.
They had to go kick the field goal on 3rd down because they'd run out of time, which tells you the clock management. So not something you see very often from Lincoln Riley with clock management.
Especially with the timeouts he had left.
before we get to the second half, one tell you about Town Square Pizza downtown next to Jolie Pearl. Town Square Pizza, square pizza, but delicious, and made in right in front of you. You get in and get out. If you're working downtown, maybe it's a little bit harder for you to take a longer lunch. You got to get back in a hurry. They'll be able to get you in and get you out. Huge portions. We eat down there all the time. I'm almost always bringing something back. So check them out in downtown Baton Rouge, Town Square Pizza. Okay, LSU's defense held up here, well into the third quarter. I thought they did a nice job here. This is a third down play. I'm sorry. That was after the third down play. The first drive of the second half, they got a 3-and-out, and that was their first 3-and-out of the game. This is a third down and 10, where they hit the crosser there for another big play. I'm gonna go back and look at this again, because this is a tough deal for whoever's trying to cover for that long. They did not get good pressure on that play.
Well, I think Stamps could have trailed inside. He didn't have anybody on the outside with the safety over the top. But we do have three guys covering one in that play, and that's where I think there was some miscommunication. I think
let's go back and look at this again, and you tell me what you see here.
He's got three dropping to the back right, and they never get their eyes back on the crosser.
All right, so
the guy they were trailing runs a dig. Both their eyes are here, and nobody stayed with him. And I don't know what the coverage was. You had a safety over the top. Stamps could have probably trailed with him, but he might be responsibility for the crosser. But there was
it's a third down and 10 too, which drives you even more crazy.
Because that's a missed assignment. Somebody had a missed assignment on that play. When you watch it right here, look, that was a good shot. But they have three guys trailing with the guy coming across and nobody picking up the crosser on the other side.
This is down into the middle part of the third quarter. There's another third down and 8 that they go down there and get the PI.
That's good coverage by a freshman. He's got to get his head around, because if you look at him, the receiver kind of pulled him into him. He had his hands up. He wasn't holding. The receiver starts trailing on an inside ball, and he kind of tried to use his momentum. I'm going to let the freshman pass on that one.
They didn't because he's got his hands on him, Rich. You're going to get that call every time. I'm looking at this.
Because he's going to fight into him.
Yeah, he'll – okay, that's an old receiver trick, right?
You're going to fight into him, because once you know you can't get to the ball, make the contact look worse. The guy wasn't trying to – you say he got his hands were around him, not grabbing, but – the receiver made a smart move. He played into the DB, and he's going to get the call.
If you turn your head around.
If he turns his head around and he's doing this the whole time.
Maybe he's got a chance.
They're going to look at him. They're going to get his hands. But when his face is buried into his chest, it's hard to get the call.
No, that's a first game of his college career.
I think Woodland played awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get on him too much. This is a heck of a spot for him to be put in.
You go back and watch this game, Stamps and Woodland give you a bright future at corner.
And they did talk today on the teleconference. Zy Alexander is working his way back.
Okay.
May see a little bit more of him this week, and then hopefully by the time they get into the teeth of this schedule, so if you can do that and you put Sage Ryan back at safety, and maybe they're going to do that, maybe they're keeping corner, I don't know. I think you get better at two positions. I thought the safety play was a little bit rough at times in coverage.
When you start seeing the missed coverages, I thought a lot of it was the pass off between linebacker and safety. There was some miscommunication or unsure of who was supposed to carry.
This is a sack by Savion Jones.
And that's a coverage sack. If you go back and watch the wide view of this, there was nobody open.
And that's here it is. But Jones also does
good bend right there, gets underneath him.
That's something he didn't do a year ago.
He didn't fight like that a year ago. Usually once someone got his hands on him, he was kind of done. But you can see that he's bending and with better technique getting around the edge.
There's 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, and you've held them to 13 points. You're not going to score again until the fourth. This is another nice throw to Taylor.
It was a great catch. Kept his momentum going forward and gets the first down.
And here's Emory. Unfortunately, we're not going to see any more of this year. But this was the biggest run of the night by far.
If they go to the wide view of this, you just see this was probably the best block play here. It's so clean. Everybody gets around, and that gap's just there.
Why weren't they able to do more of that?
I think this right here is what really got them going, and they've been playing too high the whole game. They got a little bit nervous here and started playing one high and put more in the box.
Emory would spark this drive, which is the one that puts LSU ahead for the first time in the game. Gets them down inside the red zone, and here I I want you to mark this play down, Rich. We're going to look at it more than once. This is Aaron Anderson. First of all, for Anderson, I thought he looked healthy.
Yeah.
Remember last year we talked about that. They told us he was fast. He doesn't look fast.
No.
He looks fast now.
He looked like he's on a second gear compared to where he was last year.
So it leads me to believe that last year he was hurt.
Yeah.
But not injured enough to stay out of games necessarily, but hurt.
Was he coming back from an ACL last year? Was it
I'm trying to remember. But he looks completely healthy. He looked like he had another gear. And the reason I want you to look at this play is I think they run something somewhat similar when they got second down near the end of the game inside a 2-minute warning, and Nussmeier just makes a bad throw.
Yeah.
So let's watch this again from the wide angle.
It's a perfect pick play. He's going to get on the inside of the DB. He's got man coverage, and you're going to run to get him in the way of the safety. That's how it's supposed to look.
You're an offensive guy. You're supposed to call it a rub. Defensive guys call it a pick.
Oh, I watch too much TV now.
Anderson had 5 catches on the night, and he looked like the guy we expected that they were getting last year. USC gets extremely fortunate on this play, trying to get
cute.
Not
bounce our way. I mean, look, USC played the better game, but there's so many opportunities like this where Blake Baker couldn't get the turnover. I mean, the ball bounced the wrong way.
The ball's on the ground, and
see, there's one. If they go back, I felt like Greg Penn had his eyes in the backfield a little too long. I'm not sure if he thought he had safety help, but with the crosser coming across, both of them go to 6, and it leaves a tight end open.
So you think that's on Penn?
Yeah, I think he just got his eyes caught in the backfield.
Watch it again from this.
Right there, he realizes right there he's beat.
Well, did he think he had responsibility on the back?
And that's where I'm not sure because number 2 is playing a little deep. It looks like he thought he had safety over the top, but it was further back than he needed.
All right, now look, this I think this is a good throw, man. I can't fault the coverage too much here. He's right catch,
there. Great throw. I mean, when you go back and watch the wide view, Weeks is hands all in his throwing pattern,
and Stamps is right there. I mean,
it's a fingertip catch.
Well, he's a little bit further behind him when you see it from the rear view. But still, you got to put the ball right there. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great throw and great catch.
Nice play there. Now we're inside of 10 minutes. There's another big play. If
he gets his fingertips on it, you want to see him make that play. It is a D lineman, but man, you got to get one of these to bounce your way.
That's Deshaun Womack, 15, a guy we've talked an awful lot about. Rich, I think that Gordy made in the post game the comment that he looks somewhat like B.J. Ojulari did as a freshman. Maybe he's not ready to play every down at this point in his career. But, man, as a pass rush specialist, I like a lot of what I see.
I want in every 3rd and long situation because he just brings another gear of speed to that D-line that we're missing.
25 years of experience, Lake Urgent Care is dedicated to providing quality care close to home. They treat minor illnesses and injuries for ages 3 months and up at 17 convenient locations, including Baton Rouge, Hammond, Livingston, and Ascension Parish. Plus, they offer occupational health and weight loss solutions and a seamless extension of Our Lady of the Lake. Patients can access care from anywhere with the My Chart patient portal. Our urgent care centers are open 7 days a week. Simply walk in, check in online, or schedule a virtual care visit at lakeurgentcare.com. So LSU's got the lead, but now USC's got the ball back, and they're back in LSU territory. That's another yeah. And I liked a lot of what I saw out of him. The defensive front was really not bad. Gio Pai, as you just saw there in the shot, I thought was very active also in this game.
He got a lot of good push. I'm not sure what happens later in the game. I want Weeks on the field. When you get into those last couple drives, you didn't see him on the field as much. And I feel like there's another play that he almost made. He's so explosive.
This is another almost play. If you get your hands on this, if he's able to hold this, rather, it's Jones with the deflection, and Weeks almost gets there and just can't quite make.
It's a good play
catch.
by the lineman, knocks his hands down.
The other thing that happened, we'll see in a second. There's Jones. I love Jones's game. Now you see LSU's playing 2nd and 15 from their own 16-yard line. I believe it was a false start prior to the play we're going to watch. But after the deflection, Major Burns takes his helmet off. This is another unsportsmanlike play that cost LSU 15 yards. Explain to me, like I'm 4 years old, the difference between starting to drive at 36-yard line and starting to drive at 21-yard line with 8 minutes to go in a game that you got the lead.
It's a huge difference. And that's it's another disappointing one. Major Burns knows better than that. I mean, that was a rule they put in since Emmitt Smith. I mean, Emmitt Smith would take his helmet off after every freaking touchdown. And I just don't, it's an unexcusable play because everybody knows better than that. I mean, you know it's going to be a flag. And when you're trying to get momentum going, you got to get some points on the board. You're hurting yourself. You get that penalty, you lose 15 yards. Will Campbell jumps offside. Now you're back 20. You lost 20 yards before you snapped the ball.
Now, this is a good play coming up for Kamarian Pimpton, a kid I think has got a tremendous amount of potential here. And he picks up 14 on 2nd down and 15. This is a good play, but it's about to come up with a bad play right behind it. So we like Pimpton. This is a perfect example. These two plays, this sequence, why we like Pimpton as a receiver and Trey'Dez Green as well, but as a blocker. And when they're in 12 personnel, one of those kids is going to be on the field, and they're just not very good blockers at this point in their careers.
And this is a play that you typically put a weak blocker in because you just got to seal him off, cut him off for a second, but he takes such a bad first step. And, I don't know if he's losing track of the ball, but he has to get in there and slow the guy up. You'll see when you hit play. This is the reason the play is a failure. The guy gets inside, he misses completely, and he blows him up.
This is 3rd down and 1.
What I also don't like about that, and this was a Denbrock deal. I don't know why in our short yardage packages we bring our receivers in. You would think that you'd want to keep them out wide, clear the box up a little bit.
All right, well, show me, and I'll pause it here for you.
So right here, you have Kyron Lacey playing the tight end. He's lined up next to Will Campbell. Is going to bring the cornerback in. It doesn't affect this play because the block is so bad on the backside, but I don't like bringing the tight end. He's not going to block. You're not going to run behind Kyron. I think just get him out wide. I don't like when you bring the receivers in short yardage situations because it crowds the box.
The end comes right across Pimpton's nose.
Yeah, Pimpton just takes a bad first step. I mean, he doesn't – in that situation, your backside cutoff. You got to almost be leaning.
So this is one where the offensive line is going to get blamed for this.
Yeah.
But it's really not. This particular play is not on the offensive line.
They didn't have a great blocking. They didn't get a lot of movement up front. It's kind of a stalemate. But even with a stalemate, you're thinking you can get a yard just by getting forward momentum, and it gets shut down when Pimpton doesn't cut off the backside.
And we'll watch it again, and he comes just right across his nose. It's going to be a really close play. If he gets Cecile there.
Rewind it back one time. I just want to see. It's like he didn't get his first step in. He didn't get a good step in. He just had poor technique right there.
It's one of the things, it's inexperience or whatever. But the more you're in that 12 personnel, I think it's the tougher it is for you to run the football.
Yeah, but you go back, one of our best run was in 12 personnel, but they played differently. Pimpton was getting out on the backside. You had a run pass option almost to pull the linebackers. When you bring them in here and you're running up the middle, it's not going to help because they're not our best blockers. I think you've got to have a pass action off of it.
This last 8 minutes was rough on the LSU defense. USC made a number of big plays. This one is an offside, so they're going to get it anyway, and they're able to get the ball over. I didn't think that the coverage was terrible.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, it's another play where he's in position. He mistimes his jump, and the ball goes over him.
So you're down 20-17. You get the ball. You're going to be able to go down on this last drive. What were you thinking watching the game? You didn't get to go, but what are you thinking watching the game at that point? How you feel?
At this point, I'm getting a little bit nervous because we've been stalemated on the last offensive drive. You got, I think there's 6 minutes left at this point, 7 minutes. You want to eat some time off the clock. That your offense has to make a play.
It's a nice arm extension there, but
there's a little push off.
Tricks of the trade, right?
Yeah, you got to know how to do it. And like I said, I thought Stamps played pretty well. Here's where I get disappointed in the offense. You've got to give the defense a break. They've had a couple stops, and I just felt like they got worn down.
USC leading by 3 at this stage of the game. Nussmeier buys himself a little bit of time, and had he let Anderson a little bit better.
That's another one. I don't get the jump. You jump, you lose your momentum. Anderson runs a good route. I think a little bit more reps between the two, he bends it a little bit more, and there's nobody there to stop him.
Also, if Lacey can, I want to get on Lacey for this one, but because I thought he's trying to make a hustle play. If Anderson waits on him a little bit,
if he times it up a little bit better and lets him get out in front, he might seal it off.
It's an almost play. I mean, it's a big play for LSU.
It's a great play by Garrett Nussmeier. He's going left all the way, comes back to his third read, hits him on the deep dig. Right here, you just want to make a play.
4 minutes to go. You're down 3. Here we see it from the backside. What's he reading?
He's looking at the out route, then he's looking at the corner. He had a little smash combination, and then he got the dig as the third option across the back. I think they get a little bit more time together. Anderson realizes how open he is. He can bend it a little bit more.
It's a nice physical play by Thomas. They went back and looked at this when he did secure it and gave LSU a first down.
I remember watching. He gets his elbow down first.
And the ball doesn't move. So LSU is going to play first down here. Here we'll get another look at it.
Great concentration, strong hands. Good play.
I'm a Xavier Thomas fan. I like his game.
From the return game to when he got the ball in his hands, I mean, he's an explosive guy.
All right, so now we're about to come to the play. Well, actually, they went right through it, which was the bad pass by Nussmeier. It's a very similar action to the one that they called earlier in the game for the touchdown.
You get to go back and watch it. It's Anderson. It's another rub play where Anderson's getting out in the flat. I think Anderson threw Nussmeier off because if you go back and watch it, Anderson gets his eyes around and then he kind of quits on it, starts looking towards the sideline. And I think that's kind of threw off the rhythm with Garrett because then he brings his eyes back around and he short arms it.
If he makes that throw, do you think Anderson I thought he would have got inside the 5-yard line with the first down. I don't know that he would have scored.
I don't know if he scores because the safety was there, but he gets inside the 5.
We're brought to you by Dependable Storage with 8 locations across Louisiana and 1 in Gulfport, Mississippi. They'll match any competitor's pricing, offering convenient online rentals and payments, free use of the moving truck for new rental move-ins, and clean, secure, and conveniently located facilities. Check out the website at dependablestorage.com. Dependable Storage wants your stuff. So after you miss on the second down, you come back and now you're playing third down and 8 from the 14-yard line. You're also inside of couple minutes now.
That's just a bad decision by Garrett. Garrett was locked in. He was going 2 all the way. If you turn around and watch, or they replay this, I think if he comes off 2, looks backside of Aaron Anderson sitting right there, that'll probably get the first down.
One of the big questions was why they didn't go to Lacey more in the second half. What did you see with
they started playing, doubling him. I mean, they had a guy over the top, wouldn't let him get beat deep, and then you had a guy trailing. I mean, they made it a point to take away Lacey in the second half.
The other thing that was disappointing about this with the second down play, USC's got 1 timeout. If Anderson makes the catch, if the throw is there and Anderson makes the catch, USC's in a hell of a clock position at that point. You see they got 1 timeout left. They got to figure out where they're going to use it. And even if LSU goes 3 and out at that point, as long as they stay in bounds and don't throw an incompletion, you're looking at 2 times where the clock is running. You're going to get this thing down somewhere around 40 seconds.
It's like the first half.
30 to 40 seconds. Yeah, but I was kind of defense making a stop this time. This last drive, USC made it look way too easy.
I'm going to put it on Blake Baker. We played way too conservative right here. Everybody's dropping. You're giving them the middle of the field. All they need is a field goal. You're not trying to stop the touchdown at this point.
This would be a way different if it was 27 to 20. Or 24 to 20.
You're going to play deep. You're going to take away the deep shot. But we just let them drive down the field. You got 1 timeout, 1:40 to go. And you look at them. They're just going to dink and dunk, knowing that all they need to get to is in field goal range.
Yeah, it's an easy throw.
And we gave it to them. Everybody's playing so soft, so deep. I don't like the defensive play calls right here. And this is where, guys miss plays early on. This is one where I didn't like the situation the coordinators put him in.
Now 26 seconds to go. Here's another coming up on the next play. Another just killer. Now remember the field goal. The kickers missed a 29-yarder early, 18 seconds to go. They're still at the 47-yard line. And here's a play that gets down inside the 30, and you're going to get the targeting call.
That's your whole shot, too. I mean, that's a tough play to defend and cover, too. Right there at about the 17 yards, you got to have the corner get backward in between the safety. That was a well-executed throw and catch.
And it was the right call on the targeting. It would have set them up for would have been a really a short field goal.
This is where I say we need to make a play. There's too often in this game, we're in decent coverage, but we just never make the play that can seal it off.
Here you see it one more time from the backside. That's helmet to helmet.
See, if I'm a safety right there, I'm going low on him. I'm aiming for the football. You got to play to knock the ball away.
Yeah, because a turnover at that point is really the only chance you have to turn them back. Yeah. Now, they could have missed a field goal, I guess, but, LSU doesn't even make them kick it here because this is a play right out the middle. I guess you're gambling a little bit there.
This is the only play I got mad with Perk on. I mean, look, it's not his fault. He played a good game. He's our leading tackler. But when you're down 8 seconds left, you got to sell out and try to do something. I mean, right there, the ball gets even, and he just kind of quits on it. That's the only play that it was disappointing for me with him. You might see it better from this side.
Joe, yeah.
He just stops.
What do you think of Perkins overall in the game?
I thought he played good. I mean, but I didn't see – he had a couple opportunities where he came off the edge and disrupted the throw.
There's the interception in the game.
The big play.
The stat sheet will show that he led the team in tackles.
7 assists, 1 solo.
Yeah.
I thought he disrupted the pass game a little bit coming off the edge. He never got home. But, I mean, he's a guy that, he's playing good, but we need him to be elite. I mean, he needs to be the elite guy.
There was some routine plays that he made. I guess we're waiting. Are we expecting too much? We're expecting the big plays. There was the one at the mesh point near in the first half, but at times you just, I don't know. You've turned him from a big time playmaker into just another guy.
Yeah, I mean, because you're right. Maybe from his freshman season, we expect a lot out of him. He made the explosive plays, the game changing plays that really changed some games for us, and now you're just seeing make the average play.
Okay, you waited a long time for this game. You lose it. You've got a game coming up this weekend that you're going to win. A South Carolina team that barely beat Old Dominion, was losing Old Dominion with 7 minutes to go. A UCLA team that barely beat Hawaii. A South Alabama team that is not going to really scare you. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but last year you said something that stuck with me. I was thinking about it after the game. After they lost to Florida State, you're like, man, it's like a month and a half before you can impress me again.
I'm not going to feel good till Ole Miss.
After watching some of the things in the secondary, I'm not sure you're going to feel good after Ole Miss either. But
I think it's really close, and nobody wants to hear that. You got a freshman and a true sophomore playing on the corners. I thought they played good. They got beat on a few plays by some guys who were elite. But everything I'm seeing, and it's what I said at the end of last season, they're coming. But, you can be there, and it's okay. Those guys got to start making plays. We need some playmakers, and I think that's where we're missing right now, both on offense and defense. It's just guys that can, make a game-changing play.
This would feel obviously so much differently had just one of the – how many plays did we talk about here? Going the other way, and LSU had won this game 24-20 or, whatever. It wouldn't erase the problems that they've got. So I always ask this after the what problems are fixable and what problems aren't. So let's start on the offensive side. That offensive line didn't run block very well the other night. No. And now you've lost John Emery as well. Is the run game fixable? Because they're going to see better fronts than this later on.
Oh, they're going to see a lot better fronts. And I've always told everybody I've talked to you about it. Run blocking is a mindset. And I feel like, I don't know, and I don't want to make excuses, but we've been such a pass heavy team that guys have just leaned on the pass. We haven't expected the run out of them. But when you have Will Campbell, who I'm a huge fan of, come out and say, we're going to run the ball. I don't care. We'll tell everybody we're going to run the ball. And that's what we're going to do. You got to show it on the film because, did he have some good blocks? Yeah. But there's a lot of times when, Hester will tell you when it was 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, 4th and 1, we could tell you to play. We didn't care. We were going to get that 1 yard. We weren't going to get stopped. and you got to have that mindset.
The fronts, the bare fronts that they showed them in the first half, did this lead to? I don't know if they did the check with me up there. Did they have to take advantage of what they were giving them in the secondary and not really try as much to run the football?
A lot of those fronts were bluffs. If you go back and watch them, they were pulling out, bailing out at the last second. I think that what hurts us right now is the RPO is they're not expecting Garrett to run the ball. And like if you're going to run it, he's got to pull it a couple times just to make those guys stay clean, because there was times where he should have pulled it and he could have gotten 5-7 yards, gotten a first down. I don't know if it was predetermined that you're not pulling the ball, but if you're going to run an RPO, you got to show the threat of the quarterback running it.
I agree. And I'll go one other. When they went empty, USC would clear out the middle of the field. I mean, even the interior defensive linemen were out outside. It seemed like outside the 5 techniques. You can tuck it and run, and you'll be 10 yards down the field before anybody gets there. He's never going to be confused with Jaden Daniels, but he's not a statue either. He's not a bad athlete.
I think I'm not saying Joe Burrow, but he's got the mobility of Joe Burrow. I've seen him get out and run. He's not a slow guy. He's a guy that can go. Matt Flynn was a 4.7 guy. He could get out there and go get that play for 5 to 7 yards.
If Nussmeier, if you could take 2019 Joe Burrow and 2024 Garrett Nussmeier and line them up in the 40, how much difference is there?
It's pretty close.
Yeah, and that's what I think too.
That's what makes me believe, because I think it was predetermined. Don't pull the ball,
because Burrow would hit me. Yeah. I'm going through there almost to a fault where you're like, please stop getting hit.
Same with Jaden Daniels. You're like, get down, stop doing it. And I don't know if that's they were going to say, hey, we don't want to risk getting you hurt this early because you got another freshman and a sophomore.
It's pretty sparse, but there's no experience behind him. Yeah, very little.
When Joe Burrow did it most, his first year with O, they weren't really that worried about it. But it seems to me, we had those RPO plays in, and they didn't respect it at all. And the DN came crash and left it wide open, and they just knew that he wasn't going to pull the ball.
I don't want to be, a sunshine pumper to the point where, it's just Pollyanna. But in 2022, they lost a heartbreak game to Florida State in the Superdome. An extra point gets them to overtime, made all kind of mistakes. Probably should have won the game, but didn't. They took that disappointment and turned it around. In fact, a few weeks later, they got blown out of Tiger Stadium by Tennessee, and they were able to regroup all that and put together a team that got to the SEC championship game. So mindset now, the leadership on that team, I thought, really aided them. They had a lot of upperclassmen. Transfer portal was good to them that year. So now you got to it'll be tough to focus this week, I think, because you can't go out and win the USC game against Nicholls State this week. That's over. You got to put it behind you, but you got to refocus and get going. They did it 2 years ago. Can they do it again?
I think they can. That's one thing that Brian Kelly has done. You've seen them rebound from those losses. Now, do we want to get to the situation where we're not having to rebound? But you do have some older guys out there that start with Will Cameron and Emory Jones. Those got to be your leaders. The guys that are in their third year of starting football, they got to go out there with the mindset and say, hey, I took every game. I didn't care if it was Nicholls, USC. I was just as nervous before every single game, and they got to get that mindset going.
You said you want to get to the point where you don't have to rebound. You want to win.
You want to win because you want to be the better team out the gate. And I felt we were an equal team. I'm not going to say that we were necessarily better than USC.
It was a coin flip game.
Yeah, they made some great plays. The biggest difference in this game is USC made the big plays, and we just didn't.
If they played USC 10 consecutive weeks in Las Vegas, probably each team would win 5. I'd be dead because I can't stay 10 weeks in Vegas. 6 days was plenty. But the reason I was asking, you get to the point where you don't want to rebound. I thought you might be talking about scheduling, which has been a popular topic.
Yeah, I don't like it. But I also know that you find out a lot about your team that you're not going to find out playing Nicholls State. It's great when you win that close game because you want to be challenged. You don't want to come out here and like all the other games I watched 72-3, 70. You feel good about it, but like I said, we know where the problems are with this team now, and I think you play those early on games where they aren't competitive. You're still guessing.
Well, I want to be careful here because I've been a big proponent of week 0 and still am. I don't want them to stop scheduling the USCs and Clemson's, and
But if you're
Florida
going to do
States
it,
of the
play a
world.
week 0.
Yeah, I don't want to play. I don't want to play my best non-conference opponent in week 1. And sometimes there's no way around that. I get it. You can't just magically pick your own schedule every time. So I don't want to complain myself into a bunch of Furmans on the schedule the rest of the way. But I do think you got to when you lose 5 in a row like this, when your season takes a gut punch before Labor Day, you got to start to think maybe this is not something that's happened once. Okay, this happened in 2002 with Virginia Tech. This happened 5 straight times in losing openers here. This has happened where other teams have scheduled a team out in front of you. The UCLA team had played.
I feel really different about this one than the previous 3. We were going into playing an elite team, Florida State, or an elite team, Power 5 team, UCLA, who had all played games prior.
Yeah.
To me, that's an unfair advantage because you work out those kinks. You see where your problems are. This one, it was both our first game, and I'm okay with it. If you're going to play them, make it sure it's both their first game. Don't give one of them the
which
advantage.
I think Clemson probably would if you tried to go schedule a week 0 game, because the next 2 years, LSU goes to Clemson next year. Clemson comes to Baton Rouge the following year. It probably needs to be the first game. I'm just wondering if in the future, if you're going to schedule these games, you schedule them in week 2, you schedule them in week 3. Maybe you don't learn anything, but 10 penalties for 99 yards gets you beat against USC. It doesn't get you beat against Nichols.
No, I mean, but those are some of the penalties with the 2 big ones, Burns and Lacey. You can't have that. I mean, that's
well, Gilbert too. I mean, it's going to be without the targeting. Yeah. And look, I understand he's trying to make a play. It's late in the game, but that essentially clinched it. If USC goes out there to try a field goal that's longer than 40 yards, I feel okay. I feel you got a shot here.
But also get where Gilbert's coming out. He's selling out at that point. Yeah. He's trying to.
I don't want to beat him up too much for that play.
On that play, I mean, the guy had the ball in his hands. His only hope is to deplete it and knock it out.
Yeah. Be a long week, I would say, for those guys mentally.
Yeah,
more so.
Let's just. I mean, it's a drag when you. This has been the focus since they started summer workouts. I mean, it's what everybody's been gearing up for. It's all the hype that all the fans were waiting on, and then to go out there and just come up short. It's a gut punch.
We're brought to you by Marucci Sports, Bayou Apparel, Dana Brown and Law Office of O.C. Brown, Town Square Pizza, Our Lady of the Lake Urgent Care, and by Dependable Storage. For Wednesday, and by the way, starting next week, we'll be back on Mondays for the rest of the year. So for Richared Dickson, I'm Charles Hanagirff, and for Wednesday, September the 4th, this has been the Handycast.